The War Within's new features are a game changer for WoW. Now, we've talked about a lot of these features, what they mean for the game going forward. Bellular believes they're game changers. Now, let's see what he has to say about it.
Welcome back. Let's talk about the future of World of Warcraft's gameplay. Dynamic flying everywhere. Hero talents, which are basically a light version of subclasses. A new pillar of endgame content for the most casual players out there that will last for years. As close to account-wide everything as we can physically get. Transmog collection restrictions being removed. I mean, come on, a shared bank for all your damn characters that you can craft from. This is the Warcraft team firing on all cylinders. If half of what the team are saying with the War Within is true, this is going to feel like a totally different experience, at least insofar as respecting your time, your effort, and what you want to do. This truly sounds like an anti-shadow.
That was a big theme for the by the way, for the announcement, is they kept saying we're going to respect players' time. Let's hope so. Looks like it with Warbands,
about this deep dive is in a way not what Ian said. I think instead it's the energy that he brought, the confidence, I think also the level of happiness from Ian as well. From seeing people at BlizzCon, a lot of the team, they did seem to be very relieved that, like, oh my god.
His shirt is great, man. The What Sword shirt, that's awesome.
We've announced the thing, which at least feels good. Time will obviously tell, but the most important thing that Ian did say was this.
We want to meet you where you are. We want to respect your time. We want to offer you the ability to choose how you want to spend that time each day, each night in Azeroth.
So that's what Ian said about the philosophy. I like that. And that's also when he brought up the first of two absolutely game-changing features.
You know what I feel like he's saying in that sentence real quick? I feel like he's saying we understand that our player base has aged a lot over the years. A lot of you guys who were teenagers are now in your 30s, still playing this game. You got a job, you got bills to pay, you got kids. And we know that you degenerates, or undercover degenerates these days, still want to log on and play, but you don't have as much time as you used to. So we got to respect your time a little bit. We got to know that, like I said, Greg from accounting, who plays a hunter in the middle of the night, he doesn't have as much time, but he still wants to play and progress. So we're going to give him a game that can do that.
One of them is Delves, and I'll be enjoying them on today's sponsor. Our sponsor, LG Ultra Gear. I've been rocking the 27-inch 240Hz OLED for over a month now, between its amazing colors,
damn, that's a beautiful monitor.
Black's buttery refresh rate. I'm absolutely spoiled. Nothing else compares. It's the absolute perfect specs for gaming, and it crushes everything, even my lunchtime dives into dusk, which feels amazing on that frame rate and really benefits from those deep blacks.
My monitors are LG Ultra Gear.
Come
on, give me a sponsorship.
Below. Delves, these are whole new additions to the game. Remember when M+ was added into Legion and suddenly the game was not just raiding and PvP? Kind of helped with a bit of that. It's Warlords of Draenor, it's not Raid Night, what the hell do I do? For many players at least. We're getting that, but this time for open world content for solo small groups and for non-competitive players, though certainly it seems that these will scale up pretty far in terms of difficulty. So they're an endgame pillar, they reward endgame gear up to heroic level from the vault, but they're more about adventure, exploration, and puzzle solving than just traditional grinding.
I don't know if he said that, but Blizzard did say that they are going to give up to heroic level raiding gear from these things. So this ain't no like casual man's, content. This will be content that you can legitimately do as a side piece, or at least, if you're raiding constantly, to be able to get gear, give yourself more chances at gear.
Killing things. They've got their own progression and power scaling. You get story and lore from Bran, who is going to be our companion character for the first season, and they're building this to integrate with the world. That means that these are instance bits of content, but they're seamless. Basically, imagine a dungeon portal that you go through with no loading screen. Kinda sick. Even the way that it distributes endgame loot involves getting keys from other world activities, and basically it kinda weaves through the whole open world content gameplay experience.
I like them. I think they're going to be really
back
good.
in World of Warcraft from what I can tell, which is certainly good. And doing this does, yes, fill the Great Vault.
Like I said, I feel like the whole world, tab here for the Great Vault, I feel like that is Blizzard's attempt at doing a world revamp and making the old zones relevant again. Because if you have open world content that can get you gear, now there's a reason to go back to that newly revamped zone that they're going to give us. And I think they're going to continue revamping. I mean, they talked about it already, right? We're going to get the entirety of Quel'Thalas, Silver Moon, all that revamped, Northrend revamped, and I don't think it stops there. That's just the beginning. So making world content relevant, giving you a reason to go back and see the newly revamped zones, that's what this whole world tab is all about. That's what Delves are about. And I think that's it was a good move on their part.
or loot. Tailor-made rewards as well are there, like this customizable flying machine that's pretty sick. Having a companion NPC that it seems they're actually going to a pretty good amount of effort to make like smart and interesting, and being able to do this solo if you want, or in a group of players, this actually looks fresh. On top of that, Ian promised that they have learned from Island Expeditions, Warfronts, Heroic Visions, and Torghast, with a bit of Scaravault and sniffing-seeking experimentation being done as well. Of course, me mentioning Torghast may be scary. The good news, though, is this is what Ian said.
It's an alternative. Unlike Torghast, which is something that, we did kind of say, everyone has to do this, whether you like it or not, whether you'd rather do something else or not.
Yeah, so no Soul Cinders again, thank God. It's definitely good that this is basically the Torghast apology for all of that stuff, right? So to sum it up, if you want role-playing game style gameplay with gearing up, leveling up companions, progressing through the different levels and challenges, but by doing world content, solving puzzles, actually engaging with the game instead of spamming endless instanced dungeons under a timer, Blizzard are finally making a whole endgame pillar of WoW for you, something you can do weekly, something that will change from seasons, and hopefully should be a part of the game from now on. Kind of crazy. Dragonflight's world content obviously was a step up from the past, but it still is kind of lacking. Here it seems that, they're actually putting the energy in to try to solve that problem.
Yeah. I feel like I could probably just save 10 minutes of this panel by just saying account-wide everything and just click through the next slides.
Warbands are the next game changer for WoW. It's sort of a fancy way for them to market.
Look, one thing that I did have one concern with Warbands, right? One concern, because I don't play alts. I only play my Death Knight, really. That's all I do. I was worried that this would force me to play alts. But Blizzard, promised over and over again that they are going to make sure that playing an alt will not give you any type of benefit in terms of progression on a single character. Right? The only thing that playing alts is going to do is it's going to help you gear out your alts. That's it. But you will not be able to push your main forward by using alts. What is up, Condi? So that's good. Also, currency-wise, grinding out stuff, all of those things are going to be, it's all count-wide now, but there's no benefit to having 13 alts and just grinding shit out. And I'm sure they're going to go through with that and make sure that that doesn't become a benefit, because if it ever did, that's where gold farmers suddenly become, as vermin as they are, in terms of if you ever look at these Asian MMOs and stuff that really do this kind of stuff, where they make MMOs it's a good benefit to have them. There's just thousands of alt bots out there everywhere.
Market, everything will be account bound now, where possible. Basically, your character and your account is added to your warband, and your warband shares bank, gold, currencies even. The War Within reps will be account-wide.
Just my Death Knight will be at the campfire.
They will start adding older ones, say Dragonflight ones as well, and basically everything that is considered progress seems to be on your warband for the most part. As an example, think about how it's kind of awkward to gear up alts sometimes, right? You're waiting in catch-up systems that are complicated, or you're finding weird workarounds to get non-soulbound gear. Well, here, they have Warbound gear. Warbound gear is basically bonus gear that will drop that is designed to be funneled to your alts.
This is nice, because this might convince someone like me who never played an alt, but you do raid 30,000 times over for that one piece of gear or that one trinket you still got to get. Hello, Beacon. How's it going? And at least you get a benefit this way. If you have an alt, you could actually get gear for that alt from the raid. You get this Warbound gear, and then hey, give your gear to the alt and make him something more fun to play.
Be just a few item levels below what your main is doing. Obviously no solid numbers, but this means you should be able to hop onto your alts kind of whenever you want. Pretty crazy. Also, their mock-up is pretty awesome. The way that it puts them into a physical space, I think, is a little bit of a tease for the future.
No, I'm not going to write it off.
The account wideness also goes for flight paths, achievements, MOG collections. It seems like they've basically checked everything that they can, and they're making everything as account-wide as they can. And they said that going forward, when it comes to progress, reps, and stuff like that, by default, for them, that content, it's the same experience. Re-earning something isn't super compelling, therefore, it will happen on your warband. This is a great change of philosophy. I think this speaks to a more playable version of World of Warcraft in the future, certainly after being able to do, every different job on one character. You know how it is in FF14. I really enjoyed that. It seems to be getting that energy back here again. And obviously, when I think about the future with any player housing, stuff like that, you can certainly, if you have the idea of a warband solidified in game, get really damn creative. Okay, dynamic flight, I don't think there's a massive amount to talk about here. It's awesome that it's basically there. This is changing and making it official, the kind of locomotion for WoW going forward. You'll be able to drag and ride. Okay, now it's called dynamic flight. Everywhere from the start, which is really good, but old TBC style flying will be just unlocked as you finish the campaign. No waiting for a few patches or anything like that. Overall then, brilliant. They're also doing a massive amount of animation work to get all of the, or at least as many as they can, of the old mounts working with dynamic flying.
I do want to say something about the animation.
Obviously,
Now, this is like a cutscene / somewhat cinematic version of flying. I did think Invincible looked kind of weird. I don't know. It's something about him just didn't look natural. But again, this is like the camera's moving and they're cutting it. Like, this is not actual, I don't think, in-game flight animations. I'm sure they're trying to make it look natural. It makes me want Invincible more. But right now, the way I saw these, like the way it was flying, something about it just looked kind of
it's a lot more easy for the ones that use wings, but they're actually putting in the animation work to cover mounts that don't have wings. Okay, one of the big fears of the talent trees, in a way, was complexity. I mean, it took a little bit. Obviously, the tiniest tweak could throw a whole tree off balance. And by now in Dragonflight, I think we're in a really good place with almost all of our talent trees. The thing is, though, if you start adding rows, right, add another row every expansion, and you get back to all the old problems we had with these trees. So, we're not getting class skins, we're not getting full subclasses. What we are getting is Blizzard threading the needle and giving us something that approximate both
hero talents
in terms of flavor and gameplay, and that is hero talents. These are basically sub-talent trees that you can spec between, just like regular talents. There's no restrictions.
These are essentially, if you want to like think about what these are Legion weapons. These are your Legion weapon trees, but like shrunk down, because just like Legion weapon trees, eventually you will fill out the entire thing. So there aren't many choices to make. Now these little toggle ones with the arrows on them, you are making choices here, and you'll probably just go to Wowhead and figure out what the best choice is. But you know, it's in the end, it's not something like talent trees where you're really deciding, making a lot of impactful decisions. Yeah, it feels fine.
Knowing how much your failure has cost the world.
But in terms of how it's gonna work with your spec and everything else, eventually you're gonna fill the thing out. So I'm excited for these. I think they're a great addition.
Thing like that. The thing is, though, they're named and they're flavored to give you more of that specialized vibe. As an example, do you want to be a Dark Ranger, Marksmanship Hunter? Now you can. Do you want to be a Horseman of the Apocalypse?
Sandland, man.
It's a really cool name, right? Or say a Thane Warrior. It's really cool. Now, Ian telling us straight up on stage that it would be too complex for them to do, like, you know, loads of other talents, right? And just keep on going down. But instead, they wanted to take a look at, like, class fantasy and to actually give people those options. That's a breath of fresh air. As an example, imagine if the Shadowlands Covenant powers and stuff worked like these do, and you could just swap between them at any time. Then back in Shadowlands, all those Covenant abilities actually would have been fun things to swap between and enjoy. This is so much better. Now, the way that this works then is you basically fill up those talent trees, right? The way that works, though, is you can swap between them. This is just a way for them to essentially have a bucket for future class, like flavor, options, that sort of thing.
They did also say that these will be like super easy to swap. Just like your talents, you'll be able to swap these out like right before you start a Mythic Plus, before you enter Raid and doing all your things in there. Like these will be something that you can really swap out on the fly, which is good.
Add to with expansions, but they can add it in a way where they're kind of giving you more and different options rather than just making every talent tree bigger, which ultimately does result in problems if you do that again and again through multiple expansions. And to make sure they get this right, they want to have all 39 hero specs available at the launch of the alpha in this coming spring, so there can be loads of feedback. PvPers, wow, you guys exist. That's kind of crazy, right? So the Great Vault PvP row is gone. You will be getting more conquest, and gearing is basically just what you want. Earn conquest, buy shit. Took us a while to get there, didn't it?
Good.
They're also adding a new battleground, and I think there was a bit of a promise of more to come. Ian said he can't confirm just yet, but if the 10.2 solo queue RBG experiment is a success, that may be a huge new part of WoW.
Look, maybe a 10... Now, this is supposed to be a completely different type of battleground, and 10v10, that's fine. That sounds fine, but you know, for like somebody like me who doesn't play PvP, you know what I love? The kind of PvP that I love? Massive armies. fighting. I want a Wintergrass PvP, man. Bring that back. I don't care how laggy it is, how whatever happens. I want like 100 v 100 big ass battles. That's the kind of PvP that someone like me who doesn't PvP wants. That's the kind of shit that I will get in. I don't care what the rewards are. Just whatever it is, you give me some kind of weird currency because you love to give extra currencies, and I buy some mounts or skins or something with it. That's fine. But if you want to get like the mainstream people into PvP, that's Wintergrasp is the way to do it, man. I miss that stuff. We need some more like that.
A huge new part of WoW going forward.
No PvP vault, no.
RBGs actually being accessible to people. That could be a bit of a PvP revival. It is so up my alley and absolutely something I'm excited for. This one's quick. Cross-realm guilds. Well, that's it.
You wouldn't be catering to somebody who doesn't partake in it. I'm saying you would get more people to partake in it. People who don't usually. Now I get they got to give more. They got to give more to the PvPers first. But I'm just saying, you ever want to throw Wintergrasp out there? I'll do that shit.
Guilds, that's it. Cross-realm guilds are a thing. Cross-realm Mythic is now possible in day one because philosophically they said that another one of their goals is to tear down those barriers, making the game social as they can.
Yeah, they want to tear down barriers, but they left the freaking Mythic lockout on. Why? Why? I've been saying it for so long. Get rid of Mythic raid lockout. If you want to have Mythic Raid Lockout just for the race to world first and shit like that, that's fine. But lift the lockout up. Like, take that shit off. Because what it stops people from doing is being able to experience Mythic Raid. Because all the people who actually do it get locked out, and they can never help the people who don't usually do it. But even at the end of the expansion, like, why the hell is there still a Mythic Lockout right now? We have 1 week left in the raid. Why is there still a Mythic Lockout? That makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing.
To play with other people, regardless of server, faction, or any of that. If you want to play WoW, they want to make it happen. That's basically what Ian said. Really damn good. New UI then. There's an improved spellbook. Looks quite gorgeous. It should help people be a bit less confused. The quest log now has filters, so it's not an incomprehensible wall of text.
Yeah, I can't even
this is just the kind of iterative improvement that is nice to see continue after the Dragonflight update. What about Mythic Plus and Raids? Well, they basically had nothing massive to announce on that front. Probably because for those features, the devil is in the detail, right? We need the balance of the dungeons to be right. They did say in interviews they want the actual dungeons to matter more and the affixes less, so that's good to know going forward. Of course, if you want massive sweeping changes, this may not be exactly what you want to hear, but for me, it's basically this. Continue iterating these features, but like, you have dungeon players, you have raid players. I think the likes of, say, trying to shore up the game with delves, get account-wide working. These are the things we need to do to actually get WoW to start growing again and be, well, more enjoyable to a far broader amount of people. If all we do is just think, raid, dungeon, raid, dungeon, raid, dungeon forever, then WoW will always be a small game that's only about raids and dungeons. The future then, I think, honestly, this all looks really goddamn bright. Like, for gameplay, and not just for the hardcore and dedicated people, but actually for everyone. I think with delves, that could really be a bit of a game changer. Now, obviously, when the rubber hits the road, things will change. Alpha testing is what matters. You know, do not pre-order based on this video, etc., etc. I will be there in the alpha, I think anyway, giving feedback, letting you know what basically is up. I think, though, that in the same way...
A big part of the alpha is going to be hero. That's going to be... The hero talent system is going to be the biggest thing that they got to fix in alpha. Or not fix, but at least balance, right? That's going to be a huge thing because it is going to be attached to player power. It's a direct attachment to it. So there's going to be a ton probably of iterating going on with those.
Mattson kind of set out the like, hey, we're going big. We are actually trying to have a long-term plan, and we want to do this right. That's kind of what Mattson set out for story. I think Ian similarly managed to set a good direction for the actual gameplay side of WoW. They can get this going, I'm absolutely here for it. Alpha will be there in spring of 2024, so we're not going to have to wait too long to see. Broadly speaking, I think they've done a good job executing loads of things with Dragonflight, and that does mean, yeah, I feel like I'm actually beginning to trust that plan. That's it for today's video. Okay, there will be a other big lore breakdown of things coming out on the channel tomorrow, as well as loads of patch 10.2 content. If you want to see all of our stuff as early as possible, check out bellular.ghost.io. That's where our memberships are. Thank you guys for joining up and supporting us. You're building towards that longer, big, sustainable future that we all want. And of course, to help us in the meantime, a big thank you to today's sponsor, LG. All right, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hell yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I think a lot of the stuff they announced is good, and I think a lot of the stuff they announced is evergreen, right? It's going to continue forward. They didn't seem to announce anything that seems like it's going to be restricted only to this expansion. All of it's just, you know, stuff that will continue on, and good stuff. I hope that we get everything that they're promising.